Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Viewers requested videos today, regular Wednesday video, so weekly video every Wednesday. I've got a big long list and I'll just pick one off the list each week as we go past Wednesday. Unless it conflicts with something else like Everything in Bloom on the 8th, then it'll be on Wednesday. And I've forgotten my list, I'll be back. And therein lies the word I will use quite frequently. Be prepared. And that's why this links nicely into the subject today, which is requested by Jacqueline Trill and D. Maxwell, and it's moving house with orchids. Be prepared. Now seriously, that is obviously what needs doing, and it needs doing as soon as you know you're going to move. Yeah? So as soon as it's confirmed, whether it's paperwork, legalities, people, whatever it is, at some point you know definitely it's on. It's on. You can start booking stuff and things. So as soon as you know that, you need to start preparing. And the most important thing you will need to move your orchids is something to put them in. And I would suggest, if you know somebody that's got them, borrow them. But the collapsible plastic crates are brilliant. They fold flat. So you can have a stack of a couple of dozen that's only this high. Yeah, they don't, packed flat, they don't take up lots of space. Then they open up, lock together, they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes and colours. And if you know somebody that's got some, try and borrow them, rather than have to buy them and possibly only ever use them once. If you're somebody that moves house relatively frequently, they'd be a good investment. They are strong, sturdy, with handles in the right place. And they're not going to have a bottom that gives out and drops all your plants, yeah, like a cardboard box might. And be warned with cardboard boxes, they may seem strong, but there will be an incident that may well happen. I've seen it, I haven't done it, because I was warned, because I've seen it. You've got a nice strong cardboard box, nice sturdy bottom, nice sturdy sides, it might even have some handle holes in it. You think that's absolutely brilliant. And you pack your orchids in there, and then sometime later you move it, perhaps to put it in the car. Yeah? And during that time, some water has come out of the bottom of your orchid pots onto that nice strong cardboard box bottom. And now it's not so strong, and you pick it up and all the plants fall out. Seen it. So whatever you're going to pack your orchids in, make sure it's strong enough to do the job. Right, so be prepared. First thing you need is packing. You not only need something to put your orchids in, you'll need something to hold them upright and keep them in place. And the cheapest thing you can get hold of that enables you to do that is newspaper. Because when it's screwed up, it actually makes quite a good buffer to put between pots, or between a pot and then, the edge of a crate, just to hold things nice and upright and firm against each other, so that they don't slide around and don't have any room to fall over in the crate. Yeah? It's like packing up to go to a show, which I've done that many times, except for you're doing it with everything. Now I moved house, I don't ever want to do it again. I'm sure I will probably have to at some point, but I don't want to. This will do nicely from now on. But I had no choice, I had to move, and I had to bring the orchids with me, or give up my YouTube stuff, which I wasn't prepared to do. Which is why we had to have a house with somewhere like this to be able to keep the orchids and the YouTube channel going. Anyway, think ahead, plan well in advance. If you start doing stuff at the last minute and rushing, you'll end up damaging plants. And a warning shot, but there might not be anything you can do about it. don't move in the middle of winter. I did. I was lucky. We had a mild spell, yeah? But crates and boxes of plants had to be loaded up into the car and brought round to here and unloaded and put in here, yeah? What did I do in here before I bought the plants round? I got everything set up. I had that opportunity. Although I took this tenancy on the 1st of December, I didn't physically move in as a person with cats, as it was then, 2, now only 1. I got all the plants and everything in their boxes at the other house, and then moved all the shelving and all the gadgets. I moved all them round here first and got them set up so that when I arrived with my boxes of plants, I could just plonk them down where they were going to go, or somewhere near it. So again, if you get an opportunity to set up where you're going before you move there, all well and good. I mean, at that particular point in time, I think that I'd already moved, so my furniture and stuff was already here. The last thing to come round was the orchids. So by then, the house round the other place was empty. So all the orchids could get packed up into crates and everything and just spread all over the lounge floor, because I wasn't living there anymore. Yeah, all that was left there was boxes of stuff to go, you know, that I didn't want round here. Stuff to get rid of, basically. So, try not to move when it's freezing cold. And if you do, you will have to try and negate the shock effect of those temperature changes. And the easiest way I can suggest to do it is whatever vehicle you're going to use to move your plants, get it warmed up. Yeah, so that it's ready to take the plants and then move them from where they are into that vehicle as fast as possible, doors shut. Yeah, whether it be a van or whatever, but try and get it warmed up. Don't move them from your whatever 20-degree growing area or whatever into a freezing cold car that's only just above freezing. You don't do them any good at all. It is a substantial shock. You sort of think, well, you know, 10-15 minutes up the road, I suspect the car will be warmed up. Yeah, but if it starts out at freezing, that 10-15 minutes can have already done some damage. Cold burn can happen quite quickly. So try not to chill your plants. And what about the other end of the scale? How about moving in a heat wave? What are you going to do about that? Well, there's not much you can do. You'll just have to go ahead with it. But I would suggest that when you move your plants into whatever vehicle they're going in, get some shading. Get something to put over the top. Because if you're in the middle of a heat wave, possibly in the middle of summer with bright sunshine through your car windows can damage your plants. I lost a plant coming home from the garden centre. Now, okay, I got distracted on the way, but I had some stuff on the back seat, including a plant I'd bought. And on the way home, I decided to stop and have a snack and a cup of coffee, because I didn't fancy one in the garden centre. They were too expensive for what you got anyway. And I stopped, and of course I parked the car, went in, never thought anything about the car, did I? Well, when I came back, the car was about 110, and the plant had been sat in the sun through the glass and had already been lost. And I hadn't even got home yet. So go steady. Think about your transport. And then, you know, finally you've got to pack everything up, make sure it's secure, upright, you know, not going to flop about. Screwed up newspaper, whatever, in crates, in cardboard boxes, whatever you're going to use, and just do it. But you'll feel a lot more comfortable about the whole thing if you've planned well ahead. And there's no element of rush. Chances are, if you've done all that, you also won't forget anything. But yeah, it is a little nerve-wracking. I mean, moving around here, that's the first time I've moved with an orchid collection. And as I said, it's the last time I want to do it. I don't want to do it again. But we managed it okay. I had help, and that's another thing. try not to do it on your own. You may not have a choice, but if you can get help, get it. Especially if somebody offers, don't say, oh, it's okay, I'll do it, I'll be fine. If somebody offers help, grab it, scruff of the neck, wait, you help. It is handy to have somebody else, another pair of eyes, another one of these thinking away that might come up with a better idea about doing something, or a quicker way, or a safer way, yeah? 2 minds, extra pair of eyes and everything, it can help, it can be good. And you'll half the load. Number of trips from A to the vehicle is half if there's 2 of you. The same as when you get there from the vehicle to where they've got to go. It's half the trips if there's 2 of you. Get some help if you can, it really is important. What else can I think of? What else did we have to worry about? Nothing really, because there was already an outside tap here where I moved to, so I wasn't going to run out of water quick. I wasn't going to transport all of my water containers full of water, so I gradually used those up before I moved so that there wasn't much left. It was empty containers, less weight, less carrying, all that sort of stuff. And I had an outside tap here. I could set the RO unit up, you know, the next day if I had to get more water. But think about your watering as well. If you've been relying on, it's all right, these blooms over here, I've got a few aphids on, and every time I see one I want it dead. So that they don't decide to increase in numbers dramatically when I'm not watching them. It's only a few, I just wipe them off. Yeah, but try not to get caught out. Try not to, you know, think like, oh, I've got 6 crates, that'll be enough. Have a think, is 6 crates enough? You might find you want 10. And if it's on the day that you move and you'll fall short, it's not funny. Really, really, really be prepared, plan ahead. And try and think everything through. And do it in advance, at a leisurely pace. Don't do it in the evening after 4 glasses of wine. Don't do it when you've just got out of bed in the morning and haven't had your coffees yet. Coffees with an S, because one's no good. Well, not for me anyway. But yeah, it is a bit nerve-wracking. And then the other thing that I didn't have to consider is distance. How long are your plants going to be in transport? If you're thinking about moving countries, then that's a whole new ball game. And I've never had to do it, I would never do it, not living in the UK. Because wherever I wanted to take my plants that's not in the UK, I'd have all the paperwork and legalities to deal with, and I wouldn't be prepared to do that. Probably be cheaper to just sell them and buy another lot in the place where I'm going. Yes, it's if you're moving countries, that's a whole new ball game, and I really don't know much about that, so I wouldn't give her advice and guidance. But again, find out what you need to do in advance, because some of those things might take time. You know what bureaucracy's like. It's people sat around doing crosswords and stuff. You got anything to do today? Yeah, I got a few bits, but that's not urgent. We can do that tomorrow, can't we? That's bureaucracy. There's people not doing their flipping job at a suitable pace to keep up with the workload. Right, so that's about it really. And don't forget, if you have a specific grow space, as you will have gadgets, yeah? Well, when I moved here, the first problem I had was there was no electrical outlets in here. I had no power. So, okay, well, what are we going to do about, well, I'll have to have an extension lead then, won't we? Because I've got sliding doors. Well, if you're going to have a cable through a sliding door, you can't shut it. It's simple little things like that, you know, think things through. And not only a single extension lead wasn't enough. because I needed power in two places, some that side and some this side. So I had to have one to get the power in here and then another one to take the power over the other side, so that I only had one cable, not four or whatever. But yeah, think about power when you get there. And if you're moving your stuff from greenhouse A to greenhouse B, and greenhouse A had shading on it, what are you going to do about greenhouse B when you get there? Yeah? I mean, if you add into the complexities, like under normal circumstances in the UK, if you own your own house and you buy another one, you move out and in a single day, unless you pay for storage or have somebody to enable you to do that. You have removal men come and take all your stuff from property A to property B in a day. It might take 2 days and they have to stop over on the way, the actual removal men, because they can't do it in a day. That's unusual. But yeah, you tend to do that in a day. As I said, I was paying rent on this place prior to actually being in it. But that's just how it had to be. It was only a couple of weeks. It wasn't a big deal. But I wasn't ready to move yet, if you see what I mean. I was still packing stuff up and things. And I wanted to move a lot of my stuff myself. So a lot of it was done in the car load at a time, you know, a bit at a time. I wasn't in a rush, I wasn't in a hurry. Because I was moving out of one property that was going to be left empty until it was sold, and I was moving into a property that was already empty. So I had no rush. That's not normal. Normally there's a panic element. Anyway, some thoughts about moving house with an orchid collection. Now don't forget, an orchid collection might be a couple of dozen plants on windowsills. They've still got to be moved. They've still got to be packed up safely, carefully. They might have spikes on. They might have spikes with buds on that you've never seen bloom before. Do you want to end up at the other end with a broken spike? You have to wait another year. But yeah, be prepared. Think everything through well in advance. And don't underestimate how long it takes to pack your orchids carefully in packing crates, cardboard boxes, whatever you're going to use, and screw up the newspaper and all that sort of stuff. It all takes time. Yeah? And once they're all packed up, they don't, unless you're in a position where you have to move that day because that's how it has to be, they can stay packed up overnight and go the next day. It doesn't all have to be done in a panic. Anyway, that's a strange subject, but having done it in the not too distant past, those are the things that I had to consider and worry about. Things I have to worry about at this point in time. There's a plant over there with a leaf that's trapped between the two sliding doors, and when I move the door it's probably going to pull the plant off the shelf. Quite see how that happens. Need to sort that out in a minute before I shut the door. Anyway, moving house. Plan ahead, be prepared, and make sure you've got more than enough packing cases, boxes, and whatever you're going to use to scrunch up and hold all the pots nice and upright and together. Or separate, you know, you might want to keep that plant separate from that one because there's a spike coming out or something, you know. So all that sort of stuff, think that lot through. And as I said, don't underestimate how long it will take. And the other thing I would say, this is the downside, I would expect some losses. Total change of environment, disturbance, all those sort of factors. Anything that's a bit dodgy, a bit iffy, and only just hanging on, that's probably going to finish it off. So be prepared for some possible losses. I wasn't prepared for anywhere near the number of losses I had. I'm still reeling from that, really. But so be it, you know. I have to be grateful for what made it. Let's look at it on the positive side. If you go with 10 orchids and end up with 6, at least you've got 6. Yeah. So there we go, that's today's video then. I hope you liked this idea of bringing forward some of my trips out, my nature trips, for a bit of light relief in the middle of a cold, dull winter time, to see a bit of sunshine and some butterflies and some wild orchids and some English scenery and English woodland and stuff like that. I hope that sits nicely with you, because it's not necessarily what you expect on the channel, but again, that's once a week. It's not the end of the world, and it's you can always choose not to watch that one if you don't want. I'd like as many people as possible to watch it, because some of those videos are quite old. Some of those videos go back to sort of 2016, 2017. They're quite old videos. They're filmed quite a long time ago. And the chances are, if you've only joined the channel in the last couple of years, you might not have seen any of them. Yeah? But, and they vary. They go from grassland to woodland to walks along a riverside, whatever. So it's just a bit of sunshine and a bit of open space at a point in time when it was nice to do it, which it isn't now. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by. Later this week, of course, we do have Everything in Bloom on the 8th. See you next time. Bye for now.